Greetings. What is up, everyone? Welcome as we are here for ERA Elite Raceway round number 2, taking place around the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Now, first, I'm going to show you the Drivers' Championship standings after last week's race around Austria. So it's Mac T in first, myself second, Modern Chicken third, MK7 Hitch fourth, and then Matuzak in fifth place. And then there you can see the rest of the finishers from last week. And then as far as the point system is concerned for Elite Raceway, it is different to real life F1. So it's 37 points for first, 30 for second, 27 for third, 24 for fourth, and then I believe it'll be 22 for fifth place, and then 2 for the fastest lap. I believe that's what it is. Now heading to the team standing. So it is McLaren, that being Mac T's team, in first with 45 points. Williams in second, Matuzak's team with 44 points. Mercedes in third with 31 points. That is the Modern Chickens team. And then my team, Alpine, in fourth with 30 points. Now, the driver who was my teammate last week was actually a reserve. Whatever points he scored for last week's race, reserve drivers, they don't, their points scoring doesn't go towards the driver's tally if they are a reserve. So my actual teammate is back for this round 2, that being T George. So whatever points that he scores will contribute to the Constructors Championship standings. And then the last thing I want to say before getting into this first qualifying run is my apologies for the first 2 rounds that I uploaded, preseason and round 1, as the quality was somewhat bad in the race. I have fixed that, so both the qualifying and race video quality should be good going forward. However, here we are for our first qualifying run. DRS is open, heading up the hill to turn number 1, where spotting your braking point, as there you can see running wide by quite a bit. It is very hard spotting your braking point going up that hill, as there is no real definitive reference to be able to spot your braking. Now going through that S section at the end of sector 1, now going through the slow right-hander and then to this left-hander. Sometimes difficult to get the traction going through that left-hander. As you can oversteer, there you see Foco setting a 134.824 to go into provisional pole position. Going through that hairpin, now it is, as Andy sets a 133, I believe that says 436, to go into provisional pole. It's DRS wide open going down this back straight, spotting our braking at just, I would say, after the just slightly after the 150 brake meter board. And now going through the slight slow right and left-handers. Purple sector 2 for ourselves, so fastest sector 2 so far in this session, set by ourselves. Now through this long right-hander and at this very difficult corner, taking it well for our first run. There you see Mac T setting a 132.715 to go provisional pole. DRS wide open, we set a 132.728, 13 thousandths slower than Mac T. So we are currently in second place. Pretty decent first run for ourselves. Now we are starting this second run, so DRS wide open, crossing the start finish line, heading up the hill once again to this very difficult turn. As you can see, taking it much better than our first run, and there you can see already gaining just under 3 times, slightly losing a bit of time afterwards. Now going through this S section, and there you can see Mac T setting a 132.561, so that puts in provisional pole. But there you can see we set a purple sector 1 for this second run, so we are doing quite well, and we are 0.5 of a second faster than our first run. Now going through that hairpin on the battery, and it is now DRS is open, going down this back straight And we do have a car that is slightly in front of us, so we get off the battery just so that we don't catch up to him too quickly. So taking that hairpin well, now going through these two right-handers, now to these two left-handers, very slow, but purple sector 2 for ourselves as well. So we are doing quite well on this run, now going through this long right-hander into this very difficult turn, taking it pretty well, not as well as our first run, however. And then they're running slightly wide, unfortunately. However, we have a bit of battery, and there you go. It is a 132.358 to put ourselves into provisional pole position. So that would be about close to, I believe it's 3.5 tenths faster than our first lap that we did. So pretty good. So now on our final run, DRS is open, running up the hill towards turn 1. Let us see how we take this, and not too bad. The traction was better, so there you can see we are gaining time at this point now, going through the S section, nearly a tenth up. There you can see clock has struck 0, so qualifying is complete. We are able to complete this lap, and there you can see purple sector 1, and that turn we were right on the limit. That could have potentially, that was very close to being a track limit violation, but luckily we stayed within the track limits. Going through that hairpin, now on the battery, it is DRS open at this point. We are nearly a tenth and a half faster than our previous lap, our fastest lap. There you can see spotting our braking at just about the 150. Going through that hairpin, traction very good, better than our last run. And there you can see we are gaining time. Purple sector 2, nearly 2.5 tenths faster than our previous lap. So this looks like we are going to go quite a bit faster than our, and there you can see having a bit of a moment, having to come out of it, but now going through this turn, and unfortunately we cut it a bit too close on the inside, invalidating the lap, and we head into the pits as that is that lap over. However, we do end up finishing in first for the qualifying session, so it is pole position. Ourselves in first, Mac T in second, Mahmoud in third, Louis Charles in fourth, Andy in fifth, MK7 Hitch sixth, Foco in a seventh, in eighth, France Herman in ninth, 50 in 07, 10th, Arman Sim 11th, my teammate T George in 12th, Joe Beef 13th, NASCAR in, sorry, the Yuppie 14th, NASCAR 15th, Matuzak 16th, Kelman 17th, and then Ricky Stanicki in 18th. So a much better qualifying session for this round 2 in comparison to last week, as last week we ended up starting in 5th position. This week doing a much better job going through quite a difficult circuit as far as qualifying is concerned. So yep, well done by ourselves, but here we are. We have it all to do in the race. So as we line up on the circuit, it is ourselves starting in first. Let us see what kind of a getaway that we get. It is 3, 4, and 5 red lights, and we are underway. And as you can see, getting quite a bit of wheel spin. There you can see the Mac T making his way alongside us and past going into turn 1. So not a great start by ourselves. Mac T having quite a better start than us. He is currently in first, ourselves slotting behind him in second place, going through this S section. And as you can see, myself and Mac T starting on the medium tires. Louis Charles starting on the hard, so he's going to be able to go a bit longer than both myself and Mac T. Mahmoud starting on the mediums, and then MK7 Hitch starting on the hard. So just like with Louis Charles, he's going to be able to go slightly longer than ourselves who started on the mediums. So Coming to the end of Sector 2, going through that hairpin, we are still slotted behind the McLaren of Mac T. So you can see yellow flags behind, and it is a virtual safety car. So similar to last week, where I think the virtual safety car came out on lap number 2, we have another virtual safety car this time on lap number 1. We're going to skip ahead to the end of the virtual safety car period. It's quite a long virtual safety car period. It is now ending, as we have to stay within the delta, and there you can see as we are back to racing speed, and we actually were quite close to the limit as far as the delta is concerned. So we are close to Mac T in front of us. You can see running slightly wide through that hairpin, but it is lap 2, so DRS is enabled. DRS is open for ourselves. Going down this back straight, going to assist us with our top speed to be able to stay within touching distance of Mac T ahead of us. And there you can see he went slightly wide through that hairpin turn. Now we skip ahead to the end of lap 2, and you can see Mac T running wide going through the penultimate turn. So DRS is open for ourselves. We set the fastest lap, however, a whole bunch of people taking it away from us. As now you can see it's our teammate who sets the fastest lap, setting a 1:44. I believe that said 2:42. So we're at the beginning of lap 3, now in the midst of, or sorry, the end of lap 3, going through the penultimate turn, now going through the final turn, and is DRS wide open. We set the fastest lap, and then it's taken away by MK7 Hitch. He sets a 1:36.487. He is currently in 4th place. So as it is right now, just seeing what it is that we can do. Don't want to stay too close to Mac T ahead of us, as the dirty air is kind of bad through or around this circuit. We are now at the end of lap 5. As you can see, we're not within 1 second at the detection point of the DRS detection point of Mac T, so we do not have DRS at this point. However, there you can see behind us, it is MK7 Hitch making a move on Louis Charles to go up into 3rd place. So well done by the Ferrari driver. Now we skip ahead to nearly the end of lap 6. As you can see, we're getting a bit closer to Mac T. We're just hovering around, as there you can see behind Louis Charles makes a move. However, it looks like, yeah, MK7 Hitch actually made a mistake, so that drops him down to 5th place. Volkoena now in 4th. We were not able to get within the 1 second at the DRS detection point of Mac T, so we do not have DRS going into turn 1. Now skipping ahead to the midst of lap 7, there you can see MK7 Hitch making a move on Volkoena to go back up into 4th place. We are still hovering within 1 second of Mac T. So now skipping ahead to the end of lap 1, we do not have, or sorry, the end of lap 10, or sorry, the end of lap 9, beginning of lap 10. We do not have DRS, as we're not within 1 second of Mac T. So still doing well in second. MK7 Hitch makes a move on Louis Charles. However, now you can see a virtual safety car does come out. So I am not sure who it is that crashed at this point, but virtual safety car period. We're going to skip ahead to the ending of the virtual safety car period, as a decently long virtual safety car period, as there you can see virtual safety car is ending at this point. We have to be careful, as we do not want to be in the red so we don't get a time penalty. And yep, so we are back underway. DRS is enabled. We are back to racing speed. And as you can see, we are just out of. So here, as you that line we just passed, that is the DRS detection line. We have to be within 1 second of Mac T to be able to get DRS at this point. Unfortunately, we were not. So it is no DRS for ourselves. So heading up the hill towards turn number 1, we now skip ahead to the beginning of lap 12. And as you can see, MACT is somewhat pulling away from us. He is 2 seconds ahead of us at this point. We are still in second, MK7 Hitch third, Louis Charles fourth, and Louis Charles' teammate Andy in fifth. But there you can see MK7 Hitch and Louis Charles do have 3-second time penalties to their name. Now skipping ahead to the midst of lap 13. Not a lot of action, in all honesty, taking place. We just kind of have to see what it is that we are going to do as far as our strategy is concerned. And there you can see my engineer telling me that the grip is being lost due to wear. I'm sure we could probably feel it at this point. So going through the hairpin, we are about 2.5 seconds behind MACT. And yeah, he's doing a very good job as far as his consistency. But here you can see MK7 Hitch actually coming alongside and making his way past, and Louis Charles is actually alongside us as well. So both of them getting DRS, they are both able to make their way past ourselves. So we drop down into 4th place. And as I was saying at the beginning of the race, both MK7 Hitch and Louis Charles, they are going to be able to go a bit longer than ourselves, and their tire wear is going to be slightly better as they started on the hard tires. So we are kind of feeling the pain at this point. I believe I did set myself to pit for lap 13. I decided that I was going to try and use the DRS, being within 1 second of the driver ahead of me, to kind of help myself be able to elongate the stint. As there you can see ourselves and Louis running wide through that turn number 1. Now skipping to the midst of lap 14. And yeah, I just wanted to see if I could run a bit longer and potentially have better tires for the end of this race. So as you can see, within 1 second of Louis Charles at the detection point, so it's DRS for ourselves. MACT, there you can see 15 seconds behind ourselves. And you can see that was Louis Charles making a move on MK7 Hitch to go up into 1st place. So we are just staying slotted in 3rd place, watching everything that is going on ahead of ourselves. And our main focus is to try and make sure that we can stay within 1 second of the driver ahead of us. So there you can see at the detection line right there, we are within 1 second, as having to do a bit of a correction so that we don't get a track limit warning. So DRS open for ourselves beginning of lap 15, so aiding our top speed to be able to stay within these front 2 runners going through turn 1, still in 3rd place. There you can see a slight slide, so we are struggling at this point. Now skipping ahead to the middle of lap 15. So we are within 1 second of MK7 Hitch, who is in 2nd. So it is DRS for ourselves down the back straight. But there you can see we're nearly 1.5 seconds as MK7 Hitch makes his way past. Actually, they're fighting at this point. So MK7 Hitch, yep, makes his way past Louis Charles to go up into 1st place. Going down that back straight, we're nearly 1.5 seconds off of the 2nd place driver. But here you can see ourselves at the end of lap 15 pitting with Louis Charles. But as you can see, Louis Charles just strutting into the pit lane. So that is a bit of time lost. So that is unfortunate for ourselves. We could have potentially, as there you can see, 2.2 seconds stop switching onto the hards. We could have potentially tried to overtake Louis Charles going into the pits. However, we didn't want to risk anything, potentially making contact and getting ourselves a time penalty. So we decided not to do that. But that did cost us time with that speed that we're going into the pits. So as you can see at this point, Louis Charles in 3rd, myself in 4th. He is on the medium tires, so he's going to have more grip, number 1. Number 2, he's going to be able to heat up his tires a lot quicker than we are going to be able to. So as you can see, coming to the DRS detection line, which was that line that we just passed there, we are not within 1 second of Louis Charles. So we are not going to get DRS going down this back straight. So now we are skipping to the end of lap 16, and there you can see Louis Charles nearly 2 seconds ahead of ourselves. MK7 Hitch is into the pits. Now the thing about Louis Charles is that he has a 6-second time penalty to his name, so that kind of helps us. But there you can see MK7 Hitch coming out of the pits. He is nearly a second ahead, maybe half a second ahead of Louis Charles. So he performs an overcut on Louis Charles. So now in the midst of lap 18, as you can see, we are just absolutely falling back, and it is not helping us with MK7 Hitch and Louis Charles being so close within each other. Out there you can see Louis Charles making a move on MK7 Hitch to go up into second. It's not helping us as they are able to use DRS off of each other to help their top speed, and inevitably allows them to move further and further away from ourselves. So now in the midst of lap 19, there you can see MK7 Hitch making a move on Louis Charles to go up into second. Now skipping ahead to the beginning of lap 21, there you can see Louis Charles making a move on MK7 Hitch, but now you can see yellow flags, and as you can see right there, just above my right tire, there is a piece of front wing on the ground, and at this point, I knew I was saved, and that is the thumbnail picture for this particular video, as at that point, I knew I was slightly saved, or my race could be saved at this point. So we have 8 laps remaining. There you can see Louis Charles has 9 seconds worth of penalties to his name. And as you can see at this point, I am now catching. So one of the drivers ahead of me has damage. Potentially both drivers may have damage, but at least one does. So there you can see in the midst of sector 2, we are now in focus mode, and we know that we are going to be able to catch one, if not both, of these drivers, and that is what we are currently doing on this lap 21. So as you can see, we are within 2.2 seconds now, 2 seconds now, 1.9 seconds of the third place driver, and then within about 2.5 seconds of MK7 Hitch. But now skipping to the end of lap 24, we are within 1 second of the third place driver Louis, and within 1.5 seconds of, as there you can see, a correction so that we do not get a track limits warning. So we are trying our very best to make sure that we do not get ourselves a 3-second time penalty, as I believe, I'm not sure how many track limit warnings I had at this point, but I believe I may have had 2. So yeah, just doing our best to keep it clean. As you can see, Louis Charles has himself 12 seconds worth of time penalties. So yeah, track limits around this circuit, it is very difficult. So we are in the midst of lap 27. There you can see ourselves making our way along, or nearly alongside, Louis Charles. So as you can see, at that point, we wanted to try and make a move on Louis Charles, but not having the grip going through that hairpin turn, and we almost cost ourselves the ability to finish closely behind both of these drivers. We did know our motive is that we always want to try and pass drivers on circuit, no matter what their time penalties are. It is a bit dangerous, but that is what it is that I like to do. So we skip ahead to the end of lap 27, now on the final lap of this race. DRS wide open as we are slotted in 4th place behind Louis Charles. He is behind MK7 Hitch at this point. 6 seconds of penalties for MK7 Hitch and 12 seconds for Louis Charles. We are now heading through this S section of Sector 1, and at this point, I am sure both of these drivers are slightly struggling on their medium tires. As for myself being on the hards, we are doing quite well as far as grip is concerned. So we are within 1 second at the DRS detection point of Louis Charles. So heading through the hairpin, as you can see, a slight slide by ourselves again, might be dirty air as well. So it is DRS wide open for ourselves. We are on the battery, also getting slipstream off of Louis Charles. And as you can see, ourselves making a move alongside and past Louis Charles to go up into 3rd place. So now we are just behind MK7 Hitch. As you can see, Mac T ahead of us. As you can see, Louis Charles looked like he was trying to make a move on ourselves. Slightly dangerous for someone having 12 seconds of penalties. And then as you can see at this point, he actually manages to spin out behind us. So Mac T finishing in 1st place, 10.5 seconds ahead of ourselves. MK7 Hitch finishes in 2nd on the road. However, we finish in 2nd as we do not have any penalties to our name. So that is going to be it for this round 2 around the Circuit of the Americas. Mac T in 1st, myself 2nd, MK7 Hitch in 3rd, Andy in 4th, Louis Charles in 5th, Focoina in 6th, the Yuppie in 7th, Mahmoud in 8th, in 9th, my teammate T George in 10th, R Manson in 11th, Joe Beef in 12th, Kalman in 13th, Ricky Stanicki in 14th, 50 in 15th, NASCAR Freak in 16th, Matuzak 17th, and then Francerman in 18th place. And the bottom 3 actually did not finish the race. So decent performance by ourselves for this round 2. However, I would definitely say Mac T had the edge on ourselves. He had very good consistency and very good race pace, so he did a good job to finish over 10 seconds ahead of ourselves. I will say we definitely cleaned up our qualifying, so in comparison to round number 1 where we started in 5th place, starting in 1st. I'm definitely happy with that. However, I do have to work on my consistency as far as race pace is concerned. So as it is for next week, there is going to be no race as it is a break week. So the following week, it is going to be round number 3 taking place around Jeddah. Very much looking forward to that race as Jeddah is always a crazy race. I haven't raced there in, I think, over 2 years at this point. So looking forward to it. Always a crazy race around there, very fast pace. And yeah, you have to be on the limit and very precise with how you drive. So I'm looking forward to that. So also, if you do want to tune into the live broadcast from Elite Raceway, just go to their YouTube channel. In 2 weeks, in 2 Mondays, it'll be live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you want to watch their live broadcast. So break week next week, and then I will see you here for the review video after round number 3 around the Jeddah circuit. Until then, take care.